Hello traders, Damien here. Welcome to a post-session review. Today is Thursday, September 12th, and today was a losing day. It was more of a losing day because it was an undisciplined day. Okay, and these things happen, I guess, to me and every other trader every once in a while. But it's important to understand that when you are off your trade plan, or you do see that discipline setting in, that mastery shortly ensues, and you either manage that trade and quit for the day, or you continue on that self-destructive path. Today, this trade is the only one I, stand behind. It was a very bullish day. Price had not made a proper correction until it hit this area here, and then price broke below this, confirming that, to me anyways, that the market definitely intended to move lower, as it made a new structure low with projection in the more shorter term, right? So in the grand scheme of things, or in the regular general order flow, it just made a complex correction, right? But the market had been respecting the smaller order flow here that we see going up and down here. So on the rotation, I wanted to get short here, and looking for a new structure low. My stop was above the most immediate main swing, which was this right here, and I got taken out. Then the market went completely haywire and went up to test the high area here, and then came back down to test the low here. So once the market pulled back up here, I saw good structure, I saw good absorption to the downside, so I decided to get aggressive and get short here. And this is where I went rogue. This is where I went undisciplined, right? Because nothing in my trade plan has me looking for short here. Okay, in fact, it should have been the other way around, right? Because price had made a new structure low here on the shorter term order flow. They made a new structure high, right, which is realignment of the longer term and the regular order flow. If anything, I should have been looking for a long. Instead, I saw what I wanted to see. I saw strength to the downside. I saw all these things that didn't make sense for me to take a short. However, I took the short, and I put my stop also in a vulnerable area. So lesson learned here, that when you do stray from your trade plan, that bad things usually happen. And when you go rogue, especially when you go rogue, bad things happen. Anyway, it wasn't that much of a terrible day. I ended up giving back some of the gains that we took yesterday, but overall we didn't give them all back, and that's a good thing. So that's the short post-session review today. Not much to talk about other than the undisciplined entry here, decent entry here, but we never ever trade against the expectation, and that's exactly what I did here, giving myself a very small chance of profitability here. I mean, my chances were only about 30% at best, and then on top of that, I put my stop in a vulnerable, even shooting myself further in the foot. So always keep in mind what the expectation is, and don't trade your intellect, okay? Because our intellect sometimes is steered by what we see and how we're interpreting things, right? But our trade plan has us looking at things that play out over time with no intellect involved, nothing to interpret, nothing to decode, nothing to second guess. So because of that, we can be more consistently profitable longer term, versus if we just approach every trading day or every trade with an intellect mindset. Although we're smart, although we know where the market's going most of the time, although we know where the market's likely to turn most of the time, those are subjective situations. And although you could argue that everything in trade is on some degree of subjectivity, or subjectivity as a whole, and that may be true, but when you then put the odds in your favor by saying, okay, well, within the subjectivity, there are things that play out over and over again, or more often than they don't, and that's when we take the subjectiveness of the market and we turn it into a more mechanical situation or opportunity, so that we can capitalize on it and have an advantage. Okay, so again, we trade what we see, not what we think. I traded what I thought, not what I saw, obviously, and paid the price here. This was the only trade that was decent, although it was against the longer term expectation. I saw that the shorter term order flow, the more immediate order flow, was strengthening to the downside, and I felt good about taking the short here and putting a tight leash on that. Once the market went crazy and spoke to us here, should have been looking for a long somewhere near these areas down here and the stop down here at minimum, right? We do have a 1-to-1 to the downside. Well, not quite. The second leg fell a little short, I think. Let's see. I didn't even process that. So today was just one of those days I was just off. I was off my rocker, and I shouldn't have even traded, and I let the impulsivity of the day and the volatility of the day steer me to making a decent decision here and a very poor one here. So it's important to understand when you're on rogue mode so that you can find the strength or the mastery to take yourself out of the trade. As you can see that shortly after I posted this trade, I did post in the thread and on disciplined trade, so mastery did set in, but at this point I'm like, okay, it's an area that should hold. Where am I willing to cut this short, because it doesn't make sense to stay in this trade and put my stop up there. It's against the expectation. So I managed it as best I could, and I got taken out, and that's that. All right, 100% accountable, 100% transparent with you guys, and that is the nice part about this. I haven't updated the spreadsheet, or I'll update it, and then I'll post it with tomorrow's post-session review. I'm going to try to work on that 3 pillars of trading presentation now. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you for the support. Thank you for following, and we'll get all this under control. Okay, guys? Thank you, and talk to you soon.